if I'm your client,
right,
and you need, I always use this, and I got this from watching MasterChef. You ever watch Gordon Ramsay's MasterChef?
yeah.
First of all, Gordon Ramsay is a master of NLP.
Yeah.
If you listen to the way he talks, it's just like, what are you doing? I gave you these amazing ingredients. All you needed to do was elevate them. And look at what you've done. It's a complete disaster. Yes? Yes, chef. You know, it's just like he gets you right into the corner where there's only one answer.
Yeah.
That's the heart of NLP.
Right.
I mean, he's just brilliant at it. But when I'm watching, it's like, especially in the MasterChef finals, you have to create the whole meal, the appetizer, the entree, the dessert.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to figure out, you have all these ingredients in front of you, and you have to figure out the best way to utilize those ingredients to make the whole meal. Same with a copywriter. You need all of the ingredients in front of you to know how you want to prepare it.
Cool. As you see it, who do you see getting the most value out of this?
So anybody who can write, who has a natural inclination to writing emotionally persuasive copy. In other words, conversational, not elitist, not essay style, not I'm trying to show you how smart I am, but people who are really interested in connecting with other people, because that's what copy is. It's the language of emotion, and it's how we connect. We use copy every single day. Right now, we're using it in the way that we're talking to each other. Mm-hmm. This is copy. So if you understand that and you want to dive into that psychology, you have something of value, or you want to produce, create, develop something of value, you are a prospect. Now, that's the higher fruit.
Sure.
Low-hanging fruit. Copywriters who have experience but haven't hit pay dirt. They don't know how to organize their VSLs. They don't know how to put themselves out there to prospects. Positioning 101. Let's just boom, positioning 101. I'm a copywriter. I can talk to any potential client I want. Why do so many copywriters, especially when they're in their first few years in the business, waste their time trying to educate prospects that don't understand the value of copy? Because no matter how much time they take to educate that person, they're never going to get their value in money. And that person isn't going to be, that client isn't going to be equipped to blow that copy up.
Yeah.
So you're going to have bombs on your record that were destined to be that way because you were talking to people, with people in the positioning of your copy that weren't able to do what you need them to do, regardless of where you are in your copywriting journey.
Right.
This is a huge problem. So you see a lot of junk out there. Oh, I'm just starting. I'll do it for free. I just want to build up my portfolio. Oh, wow, that's exciting. That's so exciting. I can't imagine the quality of people that person is going to work with.
Yeah.
That's going to propel him or her into the future, into the stratosphere of copywriting excellence. No. Never happen.
Okay.
You can't have a happy ending to an unhappy story. You can't achieve excellence by existing in mediocrity constantly. Can't. So, positioning 101. I want to discover how to speak with the people who've made millions with other copywriters. I don't need to educate them about copy. I don't need to convince them about copy. I need to connect with them where they're at so they know, without me having to even speak a word to them, that I understand their problems and I have the solutions. And here's the mechanism that achieves it. If I can do that, why would I waste my time with lower end clients that can't pay me?
Okay. So the copywriters that are still trying to convince people from the value of what they do, trying to offer free work and trying to build up their portfolio by offering low prices and doing stuff for free. These are the people that you think are gonna see the most value from this.
And just from a character integrity perspective, all they're doing is hurting the entire copywriting industry by being so fucking inept. And so, yeah, we're creating competition,
Right.
but we're also elevating the industry because it needs uniformity.
Yeah.
Not
People need to know that.
write the same, or you learn from the same people. None of that. Everybody is different. We all write in the way that we write. It's not about that, but having standards that don't perpetuate the cliches that freelance copywriters or scam artists that will take your money and run, or not complete the work, or submit horrible work and not stand behind their work. All those things are destroying a very young digital freelance market. There are people who are rising up, but there aren't enough. And there are new copywriters coming on every day thinking, oh, wow, I can work from home in my pajamas. So, it's just like I had transparency. Yesterday, I had a very emotionally toxic interaction with a client, a partner, because I put so much time and energy into building his business, turning away a lot of money, way more money than he paid me, or we would likely make back even if we hit on all cylinders in 2019. He was unavailable because he had tax evasion problems that constantly distracted him, and then he put his dick in a woman that wasn't his wife and got caught. So he was constantly distracted and not present when I was doing all the work. I completed the deliverables, I built the product, and yesterday he says, I had to hire a new copywriter because you bailed on me. I bailed on you? I bailed on you. And it's just like, there's a lot of bullshit out there, even when you're dealing with, supposedly, he's made millions on ClickBank, but he wanted to go legit because every single one of his campaigns on ClickBank have been built on just made up stories, lies, just saying what I want to say because I think that's what people want to hear to make money. And the product I'm actually giving them doesn't work. That's why he's constantly mitigating high refund rates. So, there are people out there that will try to be in integrity, but at the end of the day, nobody wants to be accountable. It's really hard, and this is a very, very dirty business. So if you go into it not equipped with the character and integrity to lead, then those people win. People who I get to say whatever I want to say. What do you mean I have to substantiate that claim? This is what it does. If that's like the level of interaction and collaboration that people are getting with their clients, they shouldn't be in this business, because it's not that difficult to ask the right questions. Anymore. It's just like, what's your friend's name that was interested in the prepper stuff?
Martin.
Yeah, Martin. He was fumbling the ball, not able to just spit out the copy, and psyched himself out and created writer's block, and then kind of crafted and produced something better, but it was like a long process because he got stuck in his head, and he spent more time on resistance than asking the right questions, and that's what created the problem, and that's why he has a difficult time taking on more clients or being able to write more and produce more and make more money. He's not asking the right questions, basic stuff. And if you're not asking the right questions, you can't get into the zone. You can't get into the groove. You're not getting out of your way. You're sitting down trying to contrive copy instead of your fingers are trying to keep up with what's coming through you. Big difference. Big difference between sitting down and I am going to get this out versus I've back processed all this. I've asked the right questions. I just need to sit down. Oh, hey, what's going on, Bob? Oh, I'm writing copy. Oh, no, you're fine. No, I know this. It's not a problem. Just coming out. Yeah. How's the wife? Because you don't even need to think about it. It's just coming through you. And that's the problem a lot of copywriters have, is they're not taking the time to ask the right questions, do the right research that make things fast and streamlined.
Okay. Cool. So let's go into that a little bit more.
And to really answer the question, ultimately the right prospects are copywriters who want to break into supplement health copywriting, who want to discover how to ask the right questions, who want to become leaders, who want the highest paying clients that can make them the most long-term back-end passive income. Likewise, entrepreneurs that are writing their own health copy and either want to continue writing their own health copy or know how to work with a health copywriter to get most out of it.
Okay. Cool. So my next question, I wanted to kind of dive a bit deeper into the nature of their problem, right? So what the problem that the prospect has. So these sort of young gun copywriters who don't know what they're doing, don't know how to ask the right questions. What is this? Is this a physical problem? Is it a mental? I mean, obviously it's not a physical problem. It's, you know, it's a mental problem. Is it an emotional problem? Do you think that comes from, is it that they're insecure? Is it that they don't have guidance? Is it that they know what to do, but they are deciding to ignore that advice? Is it there's too much advice out there? Like, kind of what is stopping them from doing this?
Well, at the end of the day, if you go back to advertising in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, at the large agencies, copywriters did everything. They led campaigns. They ran the whole team, correct?
Right.
They ran art. They ran commercial video production. They ran media. They worked with media. The account managers, you know, wine and dine this person right, get them wet that I can close the deal. You know, it was this very, very cohesive process that managed every aspect of advertising. And copywriters that are coming down the pipe right now have lost that old school mentality of providing full service.
Yeah. And
instead they kind of show up oftentimes with and the copywriters in this class were a great example of that. So okay, you hired me, now what do you want me to do? And they're expecting the client who doesn't know to give them the leadership, the direction to write the copy. So therefore they've already sabotaged it. It's already going to 99% chance it's going to bomb because they're not taking leadership. They're not asking questions. They're just kind of tell me what to do and I'll get it done as quickly as I can.
So they're copywriters. Sorry, go ahead.
In the prospecting side, how the fuck can I connect with a top level health supplement entrepreneur if I can't sell to their audience? How can I connect with them and let them know I know how to lead your prospects if I can't connect with them and what their problems are?
Sure.
In building campaigns, and the fact that they need leadership to build their campaigns, and that's what they're looking for, whether they say it or not. That's what they're looking for.
So it's kind of like copywriters who only want to be copywriters, right? The problem is that these guys think that being a copywriter means you just get to sit behind your screen and write, but really
between being an employee and an entrepreneur. There's still an employee paradigm, which is I'm on the clock, you pay me this much, and I'll do what I can in that time. Okay. But they're looking for that person to tell them what to do.
And do you think that's because they don't know that they should be being more of an entrepreneur than an employee, or is it because
every copywriter should be an entrepreneur that looks at every project they work on, whether it's front end only and or back end, that this is my business.
Right.
I am putting the hat of being the entrepreneur, the owner of this business. I created the product. I understand it deeply. I believe in it passionately. And I want to help connect it with the right people, the people that I know are looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
What the copywriter needs to show up as.
And do you think the reason that they're not showing up like that is that because they don't want to, as in they would rather just sit and just write, or is it because they don't know that they should and they don't know how to?
The second.
Okay. And so that's
They know what they know, they just don't know how to get it.
right. Okay.
And they're doing everything they can to cover it up. And they feel insecure, they feel inept, they know they're underqualified. It's constantly a voice in the back of their minds, getting in the way of sitting down and writing. That's writer's block.
Yeah.
It's resistance. It's thinking about other things. It's feeling other things instead of what you should actually be feeling and doing.
Okay.
So how can you overcome writer's block when you're not spending that time figuring out the right questions that get you to the right answers?
Right.
It's like the U2 song. It's the answers we had right, the questions we had wrong.
And where else, how else do you kind of think this affects themselves? Obviously, we in the very kind of real sense of when I sit down to write the copy that someone has asked me to do, someone has paid me to do, I'm not able to do that. But like where else does that end up affecting? What are the sort of ripples from this?
Well, the ripples in the marketplace are that there's a lot of made up stuff. So, a lot of these media companies in like Singapore and, offshore, they, even Mind Valley, they pay very small amounts and want big results, and they're on staff copywriters, and they're just, what can we say? What can we make up? What stories can we tell? Now, Mind Valley does do a lot of awesome stuff with like John Asseroff and things like that, but I'm talking about the actual copywriting experience. And, so they have a lot of, it's like a copywriter on Copy Chief put up Mind Valley's looking for copywriters to hire, and I clicked on the link to see what they were asking. And, they're trying to see, they're trying to see what copywriters they can pick, snatch, and build. But, they're obviously appealing to lower end copywriters that can relocate, and, it's not that expensive to live over there. So the money you're paid, it goes actually a long way versus if you live in the States or Europe, it won't go anywhere. Maybe, a day.
Yeah.
So, but these companies just spit stuff out, and like a company that was trying to beat Hauke Diabetes, they had their internal copywriter doing exactly what I'm saying, following their lead, and they submitted the copy to me for critique, and I broke it down. I tore it apart. I was like, if you're gonna swipe this, you did a horrible job. And I explained why. They didn't even have a cause factor or a mechanism for why their product works. There was nothing to actually believe. And so they ended up just paying me to do it, because they said, oh, you know what, we're telling this copywriter what to do. I don't think we showed him the videos that you did, the write-up that you did, and we just don't think you can do it. So that they paid me a bunch of money to do it. And that's what copywriters are, at that level are going to deal with. They're going to see all of their money go to people like me because they fuck up. They jade the person.
Yeah.
And then it's, it's like, oh, well, this copywriter did this copywriter did that. I had a person heavily negotiate with me. Like, he has worked with top A-list names that I won't mention, who didn't apparently fulfill their end of the bargain. And he's like, I paid them all up front, and I really want to work with you, but I don't want to pay you 100% up front, because if you don't produce, I have no recourse. And so I said, all right, pay me 50-50. And then he's like, okay, cool. I'll pay you 70. I made him feel better because you know what? He did get fucked. And he's not just talking story. And unfortunately, that happens at all levels of copywriting, and even media buying and design and video production, when people overextend themselves and can't do the work, even if they can do the work, if they weren't so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So that's something else. You know, if you're going to take on a lot of work, you know, just like Martin, you have to be able to do it quickly, effectively. You need to stand behind that work, because when they launch just the prototype, these days it's more difficult than ever to get immediate traction. Do you want bombs on your record? Because, oh, Bob paid me this much and it wasn't even really worth my time, and I shouldn't have to rewrite it because it didn't work. That's his fault. Nope. It's both your faults. Definitely on you too. And you need to make it right. Otherwise, you shouldn't have taken it on. Reality check. And so many copywriters ghost that because they need the next paycheck. I can't make that right. I need to pay the bills.
Yeah.
I don't have time. If I do that, I can't do that, and then I can't eat.
So you think that the main reason that this happens is because these sort of young, cheap copywriters they can't stand by their products, because if they spend the next week working on this, that means they won't work on a new project, which pays them, which means that they can actually pay their rent.
They're famine and they can never elevate themselves.
Okay, so they kind of get stuck in the freelance rat race, essentially, right? Because
Exactly. Well put. Freelance rep.
Cool.
Being in another job, just over broke, 9-to-5 epidemic. So what? You're yourself. So fucking what? You're miserable. You're an animal chaser.
Cool. So why, it's a two-part question, this one. Why is it that they can't solve it themselves, this problem? And what ways would you say that other people, that they have tried to solve it and obviously failed? So like with the students that you've worked with, and just generally in copywriters, like why can't they fix this problem themselves, and how have they tried to fix this problem? And
well, it's just the repetition, isn't it? You know, the more you do something, the more you're going to do it. And you need that pattern interrupt, that little bit of guidance to get you on the right path. It's not a lack of talent most of the time. Like a lot of the copywriters I mentor, like some of them I'm just like, wow, you are a ridiculously good writer, but they haven't made any money,
right?
Because of all the problems we're talking about,
right?
Like if you asked the right questions and you were able to produce that, you're going to be able to help a lot of people. You just get out of scarcity so that you can take the time to change these habits so that you can become a leader. I mean, really the question is, how do I become a leader? Well, I need to make sure and become an expert in health and supplements. I grew up in the business since 3 years old. I was exposed to it from a very, very young age. And then because of my own health problems, you know, getting terminal cancer at 9 years old, I got a crash course in health. And I took all the supplementation and I went through the process, and I watched other people, like at cancer clinics, talk about my cancer. Oh, you can't actually heal if you're addicted to your disease. Well, I'm finally getting all the attention, all the love I wanted that I could never get because I have cancer. How are you going to heal? I never called it my cancer. I called it like this demon inside of me. It felt like a presence. A lot of people don't actually want to heal. They want to get away with the way they abuse themselves on the customer level.
Sorry, could you say that again?
The majority of people who buy health products don't want to heal. They want to feel better about how they abuse themselves.
Okay.
About eating bad, drinking too much, smoking too much. That's why a lot of copywriters position supplements as miracles. I'm going to tell you right now, there's not a single supplement ever made that's a miracle. The supplement I'm working with right now is unbelievably effective, and it's going to help millions of people. Is it a miracle? No, it's a mechanism that perfectly addresses something in the body with a very specific mechanism that supplements something the body can't do on its own right now.
Mhm.
Miracle. It's just helping the body do what it's intelligently designed to do, which is repair itself and give it the tools to do so. That's all supplements are.
Yeah.
So also realizing the mentality that most people don't want to heal. You know, again, a lot of people who buy supplements don't even really take them.
Mhm.
So, or like they would sign up for continuity and they didn't even know. It's like they ordered it and then it was like, and they're getting charged, they're getting charged. That's how a lot of companies with continuity make money, is they get you on continuity without really realizing you're on continuity, and then it just, how long before you realize they can cancel?
Mm.
That's their churn. Not because their products are good. They're like, we have a 4-month churn. Oh, so people aren't actually using the products because you have no testimonials, you have no stories.
Mm.
When people use the products and they're supported in using the products, you know, selling, as a copywriter, we need to know this. Selling's 50% of the battle. What's the other 50%? Getting them to use it and keep reordering, lifetime value. Because if you're just getting one-off purchases, those cost per acquisitions have less and less value, right?
Mhm.
Math, simple. So we need continuity. The company I'm working with right now has 94% continuity. In other words, 94% of people who order, reorder, or get on continuity.
Yeah.
That's insane. And that's because the products are effective. They work.
Yeah.
That's because the people behind it took the time to do it. And it's an 8-year story.
Hmm.
And they've been involved with other clients I've worked with. Like, it's incestuous.
Right.
Like, if I could tell you, I'm not going to do it, but the story and all the other supplement companies that you know of that have been a part of it have acted in ways that are beyond what we would call shady. You know, but again, that's advertising.
Cool. Yeah. Sorry, but just to bring that back to so how are we doing for time? By the way, I just want to kind of
I have
make sure
25 more minutes.
5 more minutes. All right. So yeah, the main thing for me, first of all, is just real quick, specifically though, why is it that this keeps happening? Why have these copywriters not solved this problem for themselves?
Because everyone's doing it.
Sorry?
Whoa, because everyone else is doing it.
Okay.
Because they get away with it.
Okay.
But they don't actually elevate their career. And they don't actually get the winners they want or the client deserves. So they perpetuate that cycle because they're stuck in scarcity, feast and famine. Scarcity, feast and famine. Bare minimum, what's next?
So why?
In other words, if you perform in mediocrity, how do you achieve excellence?
Yeah.
Where is that transition?
Cool. Sorry, I just kind of want to make sure I get all the key bits that I really need before you have to go. Why would you say that your solution, your Copywriting Miracle, is the best one out there? Why is it better than someone else's copy course? Why is it so better than whoever's books or videos or whatever? Like, why yours?
Because I didn't learn it from a book. I didn't learn it from a course. I didn't learn it from anybody else. I learned it selling fruit as a 10-year-old boy, telling tourists stories and getting paid $20 for a single star fruit. We connect with stories. Every word we speak, every thought we think in the mental movie theater of our imagination, that Hollywood of consciousness, is a story. What have you been thinking about? It all resonates as a story.
Sure.
Right? So my style of copywriting, why does it work? Because the mechanism of this style is storytelling, not story like once upon a time, even though we can't do that, it's connecting with the stories people tell.
Yeah.
However we connect with the stories people tell. However it is that we allow them to identify. And that's relatability. That means the voice, the copy, the messaging, telling a story that empathetically allows me, the prospect, to see myself in it. That's the whole basis of my style. But all it is, it's like, if I want to listen to 105.3, am I going to hear it on 97.5? No, they're two different stations. They're two different sounds. They're two different stories. They're not going to resonate. Yeah. So if I figure out a way to, like, if I'm the product creator and it's my story, that journey that developed the product, the discovery of it, and the effectiveness of it, I need to give people the opportunity to see themselves in that story. If I'm a doctor, heuristically, so the heuristic science, it is a lot about association and symbolization. Heuristics is like symbols. So I put up an ad the other day that had a cola bottle. What do you think when you see this cola bottle? What does everybody say? Coke.
Right, yeah, sorry. I wasn't sure if you were asking me if it was a rhetorical question or not.
It's just a simple association.
Yeah.
No, the symbology. So what symbols are going to trigger the story I want to join, where I can help them the most? And then what mechanism am I going to use so that they don't question, how does this work for me?
Sure.
And doctors are a great symbol, heuristically. Joe Blow, sitting down watching this free presentation about mitochondrial health, believes the words coming out of a doctor's mouth much more readily than, "Hi, I'm Mark Pescetti, and I accidentally discovered a brand new way to treat mitochondrial dysfunction and accelerated premature aging." They're going to be like, "Who the fuck is that? What do you say?
Yeah.
Hey, look at this freak on this thing here. He's selling me crap." Whereas the doctor is like, you wake up every day and you're tired. You could have slept 8-10 hours, but you're more exhausted than when you went to bed. You're constantly dealing with painful inflammation. It's getting in the way of your life. I mean, look at what your husband's looking at you. Why aren't you helping out anymore? And you're like, I can't get up. I want to help. I don't know what's wrong with me. I hear it all the time. People are endlessly suffering because of one thing, because of toxicity. And toxicity that is getting into our blood, into our organs, because of a gut barrier that has been poked with holes by bad bacteria that is all around us. We breathe it. It's in our food. Blah, 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 blah. And so me as a prospect, I'm going to be much more ready to listen than, "Hey, I'm Mark Pescetti, and, blah, blah, blah." Because it's just like, I have to convince them symbolically that I can be a symbol. They feel okay about associating with this. But if they don't trust me, if I'm not credible, they're going to struggle to make that association. Therefore, they're going to come up with lots of objections. Therefore, I'm much less likely to convert them. Right?
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Last thing is less to do with the product and more about just real quick, just next steps. What do we need to do? What do you want? How do you kind of want to proceed with this? So do you say you're gonna send the recording to Rev, and get me this one, and get me the transcript, and then obviously, as I say, I've kind of got like sort of 5 or 6 possible angles. Some of them definitely covered some of the areas that we talked about. I've got some potential kind of couple more angles sort of knocking about in my head after our conversation today. But as I say, everything's kind of just been like headline ideas and lead ideas and angles. Just kind of want to figure out like what's our next step? What are we doing next?
You vetting the videos for sales I mean, even just in the copy, like to have really robust bullets,
Hmm.
things like that. Like this is going to be a bullet driven product section,
Okay.
you know, just basic oscillation of feature benefit. You know, here's what it is, here's what's going to do for you.
Yeah.
As a copywriter or as a business owner writing his own copy or working with copywriters.
Hmm.
I'll take a look at the copy that you wrote.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, it's like we could probably whip out 2 versions in 5 days for front end stuff. It's just like the specificity that is the bottleneck.
The specificity of
The product, what's in the box.
right. Okay. Cool.
So those are the main things. Ollie and my girlfriend's going through some of the videos for, you know, just getting basic descriptions and stuff, but
Hmm.
you're the sales mind, the persuasion master, you know what I say when people ask me what I do?
What?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
I masturbate people's emotions for a living.
I like that. Yeah. It's gross, but it works. But no, I just cool. So I'm just kind of want to have like a real kind of solid plan of like, so you know, when I wake up tomorrow, what do you think ideally you want me focusing on tomorrow? Let's just say
Just getting the main sales points. You don't have to like listen to them from beginning to end. Like, oh, I got this. I'm gonna fast forward. Boom. Okay, got that. Boom. So that you're spending like, I don't know, 10 minutes on them. If you want to spend more time, cool. But I mean, really, just getting the essence, some of the meat of them, so that we can get it into bullets. So that would be priority number 1. And then once we have that, then we just start writing.
sorry, just real quick as well. Do you kind of see it as, okay, I need to have these bullets are for this video, these bullets are for this video, or is it more just these are all of the bullets taken from the videos for
Like,
the product in general?
an ebook. On page 88, you'll discover da 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 da. So in this video, you'll discover da 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 da. Right? More like that.
So it's less oh, we need 10 bullets for each video. It's more like we know, just making notes of where the bullets are and what video, so I can say, hey, we've got this, we've got this, we've got this, like referencing different videos.
Bullet.
Sorry?
Each video is 1 bullet.
Okay, cool.
So in this video, how to be a leader, you'll cover da 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 da, which can help you da 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 da. And in this video, you'll discover da 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 da, which can help you da 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 da. So we give them the feature benefit.
Cool.
So simple. That's why you're not spending an hour on them. It's just like, as the prospect, as I'm listening to this, what's going to help me the most?
Okay.
And how do I express that to persuade the person to know that's what he or she needs? Well,
Cool. I mean, there's definitely in the copy that you'll read, there's definitely, so this is what I was kind of trying to say yesterday, is that I feel there's some really like good raw material in there. Like I've kind of picked up certain points, and you know, not to toot my own horn, but like, you know, I think there's some really interesting angles in there. There's some cool bullet points and sort of these kind of, you know, feature claim benefits, little bits that I've got in there. So I kind of, what would be cool is if you get a chance to kind of go through and maybe like highlight the little bits that you're like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, I want to include this in whatever we do. As I say, the last one in that 6 that I did, the document's called Scammy Copy. I really like, I think, especially in terms of how you feel about copy, in terms of the actual specificity of this product and how you approach copywriting. And I think how, especially speaking from my point of view, like I discovered sort of direct response maybe like 7-8 months ago, but there was a little 2-3 month gap where I just stopped learning anything about it, because everyone I was interacting with, everything I was seeing, it felt scammy, right? It felt like these people don't care about what they're actually selling. They just care about doing the sales. So I left it for a couple of months, and then I sort of ended up coming back to it through something else and reading a bit more and realizing, hey, actually, no, there's a whole bunch of people who genuinely stand by their product and who, you know, are trying to put this out to people. And I think that's something that puts a lot of copywriters off, is this sort of scammy copy. And they feel like, I want to do this direct response stuff because there's a lot of money in it, but I also want to do it ethically. So I feel like that could be a real
And it's
interesting
interesting.
angle.
I had a similar experience to you in the beginning. I was really turned off by the direct response style and all the made up stuff that felt scammy. And I really resisted it and pushed against it and tried to do other things until I really embraced it, because I realized, like capitalism, it's just like democracy, it's just like freedom. Those are all just constructs. They're mediums.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That makes them what they are, individual. Now,
I think helping people have that epiphany, helping them understand, hey, look, just because, you know, you read this financial sales letter and it sounds like it's trying to steal old people's money, doesn't mean that everything is like this. Like, you can use the kind of the techniques that they use here and do something valuable, right? Do something ethical.
Exactly. It comes down to Star Wars, the Force. You can use it for the dark side or the rebellion.
Exactly. So I think that is one angle I'd really like to kind of explore, the idea of leaning quite heavily on, because I think it's going to really connect.
I wholeheartedly agree, and also realize there are a lot of copywriters that are like the globe-trotting, look at the life I'm living, bro, lifestyle dudes, and they'll do anything to make money.
Right.
And there's actually a lot of copywriters that really don't like me, and I'm not just talking because I'm a obnoxious Sicilian Jew. They don't like how, you know, standing on my soapbox talking about compliance, because it makes them feel bad for doing that, but still making money, and like, shut the fuck up, you don't know what you're talking about. So there's different archetypes out there, but we can reach them both, because even those people that are the the globe trotting, look at the lifestyle, look at this girl, Ty Lopez style stuff, that would love to have these techniques because they can integrate them into their, obviously if they're making money, they have amazing talent. So let's
they're good at what they do, right? Yeah.
Give them more stuff to work with, and maybe that'll have a change in the way that they do things.
Yeah.
They'll look at the data and they'll be like, oh wow,
I don't need to do things a dodgy way. I can do it this way and it will make me better.
Yeah. There's unlimited ways to make money.
Cool.
It's each of us that chooses how we do it.
Yeah.
It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And again, when you're coming from scarcity, even if you make a lot of money, you're still scared.
Yeah.
So you're going to facade, you're going to do whatever it takes to keep that. Yeah. And then a lot of copywriters that are mediocre, and I don't mean in terms of talent, but in terms of the way they put themselves out there, again, it's just repetition. They just don't break the mold. I think of like the band U2. I love U2. Between Joshua Tree and Octung Davey, they went through a metamorphosis because they got creatively bored. They're like, we're not relevant. We need to reinvent so that we give a fuck and that we, you know, can push music, right? That was important to them. You know, like Bono, when he was writing one of their last albums, it was 10 reasons. They started out with the title 10 Reasons to Exist. You know, it's like, why am I here? Why does this matter? So some writers are going to really, like, my mom just died. And I was crying heavily and just emotional. And it was, you know, it's really important to me because this was her passion, health. She wanted to have a healing retreat. We were homeless because she was trying to build her alternative healing retreat. I want to continue her legacy. I want to make something of it. That's important. That's my why as a copywriter. That's why I stay in this business, even though I actually don't like it. I don't. It disgusts me. I know how to live like a fucking king without a penny in my pocket, and I can eat better than probably you or anybody you've ever met. Because I know how to catch my own fish. I know how to prepare them raw, cooked, you know, right there on the beach in the Kalalau. I can do that. No problem. I don't do this because I need to do to survive. I do it because I want to make a fucking difference. And that's why it's out there, because there's so many copywriters that do want to make a difference, but they get stuck. So let's, and maybe, you know, it's just like whenever I buy anything, maybe I'll get a few golden nuggets. And so every copywriter will get their own few golden nuggets. Hopefully it'll be enough to justify the purchase and get them somewhere and help them help more people. Clients and customers and clients of theirs, right?
Yeah.
That's the ultimate ripple effect that we want to help create and harness that momentum and leverage momentum. That's what we want. So I